And this is 5.2. Well, I can't see it. 5.2 number, okay, it says nothing up here. Well, that's number 14. This is number 16, so they're in order. 5.2, I have no idea what it says. No reply. Oh, 5.2, 59, number 14. All right, another test question. I think we did this one, but we'll do it again. If not, we did one like it. I think we did one or two of these the other day. So, work our way which way? Inside, out. So I'm going to rewrite it for you. Negative, bracket, negative 11 minus, parentheses, 7 minus 14, quantity squared, close bracket, over, bracket, parenthesis, 27 divided by 9, parenthesis, plus 3, bracket, squared, minus 24 over 4. Why would they put 24 over 4? That's 6. Okay. 24 over 4. I'm going to leave it that way because I'm not sure. I'm going to make sure. I don't think there's anything you can do with that except make it 6. It just seems odd. I could understand 24 over 3, but no, not 3. 5. 24 over 5, but I don't know why they would do that. That's why I'm wondering if they want to get a common denominator or something. But anyway, let's work our way inside out. So that means that we're going to do this first and this first. And then we're going to do, hold on, we're going to do this second. And then we're going to do the exponents third. Okay, because we need to simplify what's in here first before we do the exponent. So I'm going to rewrite it, and that's, again, the most important thing, that you write everything down, and in the next step, you write everything the same way. You don't take any shortcuts, because, like I said, if you suck at this, then you need to follow what I'm doing. Okay? If you make a mistake a lot, you need to write it down every single step. So, negative, parentheses, negative 11 minus, parentheses, 7 minus 14 is negative 7, squared, brackets, over, 27 divided by 9 is 3, brackets, parentheses, 3, plus 3, close bracket, squared, minus 24 fourths. 24 fourths is bothering me. Okay? Now we're going to do what I said. We're going to do the yellow. We're going to do that next. That's the only thing we're going to do. So negative, brackets, negative 11 minus, parentheses, negative 7, quantity squared, brackets, over, bracket, 3 plus 3 is 6, parentheses, squared, oops, that's wrong, there we go, squared, minus 24 over 4. And now we're going to do the exponents. So take out our handy dandy. Now we're going to do our exponents. Now, of course, if you're a person that's remembering how to do this and you've gotten 1 or 2 problems out of 3 right, then you can skip some steps in here. If you're a student that has done 3 problems and you got 3 right, then it ain't broke. Don't what? Don't fix it. You do it. You keep doing the way you're doing it. I'm teaching to the student that really is rusty. Really, really rusty. So, here we go. Negative, parentheses, negative 11 minus What is negative 7 squared? That's not rhetorical. I'm asking y'all to interact with me.
49.
Thank you. Positive 49. Negative 7 times negative 7, that's what this is. Negative 7 times negative 7 is positive 49. Close bracket. 6 squared is what? 36. Minus, and 24 minus 24 divided by 4 is, and you can go ahead and knock that out too. I would just want to make sure we wasn't going to get some kind of fraction or something, because that 24 over 4 just seems odd. Okay? Now, do the insides. So negative, bracket, 11, negative 11, you owe somebody $11, you owe somebody else $49, you owe them $60. Somebody check my math. You don't owe one person $11 and owe one person $49 and have $15 in your pocket. You don't do that. You got to pay. You got to pay. You got two debts. You got a debt. So negative 60 is the debt. 36 minus 6 is what? 30. And what is negative 1 times negative 60? 60 over 30. And those cancel. And what's 6 divided by 3? What? 2. That should be your answer. Now, no, you do not have to write every one of these unless you're very, very, very rusty. And the two people I'm talking about are the person, non-traditional student that hasn't had math. Let's see, what do y'all say, 1,000 years? Okay, that's what y'all say, 1,500 years or whatever. And the second person is somebody that didn't get it in high school and never understood it. That's two people that I'm doing this for. Now let's check it so we can feel good about ourselves. So we plug in 2. Well done. I'd still love to write those things. It wasn't that big of a challenge. That's what I would put. All right. Let's do another. And I'm going to erase that one. Next one. I can't see it, so there we go. 5.265/16. 65 in the book, 16 online. Part of a world standard time zone chart used by airlines in the United States Navy is shown. Oh Lord, one of these. Okay, the scale along the bottom is just like a number line down here. Okay. Find the difference in the time between Amsterdam, zone 1, Amsterdam, zone +1. Yes, right in, no, is Amsterdam's right here. 1. Oh, Lord, why did they do this? And Calgary, -7, which would be right here. So, why do they, I don't know who writes some of these questions, but some of them just they go out of their way to confuse you. They just don't confuse you, they go out of your way to confuse you. Oh. All right, so what you need to do is focus your attention right here. Right there is where you need to focus your attention. Why? Because that's your what? That's your reference to your number line. Ignore this over here, because this technically, where is this? It's over where? It's down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a black marker, and we're going to make this a little bit more what? Recognizable. I'm going to try. Technically, you need to kind of put this dot right here, around here, okay? Right in here. And this, cut it out and put it where? Over here. Now, why they didn't do that, I don't know. I guess they wanted to confuse you. But this piece right here needs to come over here, and it fit right over in here somewhere. You see what I'm saying? So, I don't know necessarily they're going to ask you a question about that Sydney over there. I don't think they're going to. I think most of it's going to be between here and here. But let's see what happens. But just ignore this for right now. Let's focus on this. We've got a number line that looks like this. And we've got negative 12, negative 11, negative 10, negative 9, negative 8, negative 7, negative 6, negative 5, negative 4, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0. We'll have to make this, move it over a little bit. Okay. Move that over. How far does it go to 3? Y'all are impressed, aren't you? Okay, 1, 2, 3. And draw your little hash marks. And you don't have to do this, but basically this is what they're doing. They're giving you a number line with half of it taken out and some of it wrapped around, just so they can confuse the crap out of it. Okay? Now it says Calgary is in, Amsterdam's in zone 1, which is, take our handy dandy highlighter, and Calgary is right here. Okay? And they're saying, or Amsterdam, and go to Calgary, which is negative 7. Now, what is the distance? And this is what I want to try to get across. This is the important part. What is the distance between 0 and 1? That's not rhetorical. I'm asking you all to interact. 1. Thank you. And what is the distance between 0 and negative 7? 7. So what is the distance between the two? 8. Okay? Now, the question, there's 2 questions I can ask here. I can ask you to add the 2, or I can ask you what is the distance. 2 different questions. All right? Now, I have no idea what they're asking. Find the difference in time zones between Amsterdam and, okay, so they're not asking for the difference, okay, they're asking for the difference, not the distance. So we're going to take 7, negative 7, and we're going to add, and we're going to subtract what? We're going to subtract 1. Okay, I think that's the way they want to set it up. This is not a good question.
I think it would just be like 8 hours.
Well, it's 8 hours, but that's the distance. That's the distance between the 2. They're not asking for the distance. They're not asking for the, they say the difference in time. It should be 8 hours.
Wouldn't it be 6 hours? Because if you look on the map, it says the time up top, and it says 5 a.m. for negative 7 zone, and then.
Okay, I know what they're doing. I know what they're doing. Negative 7. Okay, negative 7 plus 1 is equal to what?
Negative 6.
Negative 6. Time cannot be negative, so you've got 6 hours. The reason time now up here This zone is negative, but time can never be negative. Just like distance can never be negative. So that's how you get it. You're taking -7, and there's -7 right here, and you're adding 1, because the 1 is what? Positive. And you add those two together. They shouldn't put difference, because difference messes you up. -7 plus 1 is equal to -6. And -6 hours you cannot have. So you can basically say 6. Another way you could do it, which would be 1 minus 7, because of the positive 1, but you still get -6. But -6 cannot be negative. Time cannot be negative. So I would say 6. But you gotta remember, there's difference and there's distance. And in some cases, distance would be 8. There's 8 spots between -7 and +1. Remember that, because sometimes you'll be asked for the distance. I have no idea what this question is going to ask for, because I think it's not a good question. No offense to the person that sent it. It's just not a question I would, okay, whatever. It's not a question I would put on a test. Let's see, 6. Okay, I did have the question. That question is wrong. It should be 8. It should say the distance. See, that question is not right. What they should do is say, find the difference, and then put in parentheses, distance. That's what they should do. So I was right to begin with. Okay? So let's do the next one. Let's do the next one. All right? Where is the difference, the distance in time zone, the distance between what? Bogota? Whatever. I'm not no world traveler, and I don't claim to be. Don't you hate people like that? Think they're world travelers and think been at Abbeville one time? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Champagne taste on a beer budget. Y'all ever watch My Cousin Vinny? Great movie. Great movie. What are you? Sleeping world traveler? Love that movie.
I like the part where he tries to ask for grits in a diner in New
Yeah.
York.
Of course, I don't watch the movie because Marissa Tomei's in it. I don't watch it because of that. I just watch it because I like Joe Pesci. Yeah. All right. Let's go with Bogota, and it's in, where's Bogota? -5. So I'm going to take another highlighter. Well, let's see. I'm going to do this. I had the right answer. But I'm going to be honest with you. This question is not a good question. It's confusing. It's busy. There's too much stuff to do. And to me, it's not written correctly. It should have distance in there somewhere. Because when you think of a number line, you're thinking of distance. But anyway, I guess that's why I just teach and don't write books. All right. Bogota is at -5, which is right here. And Puerto Vallarta, whatever it's called, Puerto Vallarta, whatever, is -7 right here. So what's the distance between the two? 2. So it should be 2 hours. Two. There. So don't read the directions and you might get the question right. I hate to see how they explain it on Help Me Solve This. I don't even want to see it. All right. Draw you a number line and count how many humps it is, and that's it. That's how you do that question. Don't read the directions. Just read this part right here. Amsterdam, Calgary, Bogota, Puerto Vallarta. That's what you read. And you find the distance on the number line between those two. Okay? Okay. So that one's gone. All right, now, well, there. These should be scientific notation. So we're going to go to the white screen. And I'm going to show y'all scientific notation. First of all, in order to understand scientific notation, you got to know the definition. So, anybody want to volunteer to give me the definition of scientific notation? Don't read it out of the book. I want to know what your definition of scientific notation is. Like this class is going to tell me. Nobody's going to try. Okay, that's a good political definition. You just say what's in there, but you don't say what you do. You just say there's a bunch of zeros in it, and everybody's zeros, that's the exponent. Yeah. That's kind of vague, but yeah, you're right. But I'm looking for a more detailed definition.
Simplify like a long number by multiplying it by 10 to the exponent.
Use it for, this very vague also, but it's correct, like his. You use it for very large and very small numbers based on 10. But that's still not what I'm looking for. So you're both losers. Yep, good. It's real easy. I bought me a pair of those boots right there to wear on the farm. Squirrel! Squirrel! And they're not comfortable. Are those comfortable to you? Well, I also traipse around the farm on them, so it's a little bit different. But they're those like the what do you call it? I ordered them from, Beam. Is that where you got those?
Mm-hmm. These are knockoffs.
Those what?
Knockoffs.
Well, they're probably more comfortable than mine.
Yours is probably more heavier.
Yeah, I don't like them. My son wears them because I don't like them. Anyway, squirrel. Anyway, anybody else want to try the definition so I could discourage you and make you want to quit? All right, I'm going to throw a Hubertism definition up here. For very large or very small numbers, y'all said that. Placing the decimal to the right of the first number greater than 0. That's the definition of scientific notation. Now, it's in layman's terms. Okay? Yes, you count the zeros, or you count the places, and you use that as an exponent, and you use base 10. That is correct. I'm not putting that up there because y'all know how to do that. The problem is students screw this up. All right? And there's two places that students mess up scientific notation. At the beginning and at the what? They understand the 10 and they understand the counting, but they screw up the beginning and the end. They got the middle okay. All right? Now, what do I mean by that? Well, let's just talk about converting. All right? Converting. Everybody, for every 10 students that I teach scientific notation to, 8 of them know how to convert. All right? That's not a problem. The problem is later on when I show you how to do multiplication and division. That's where y'all suck pretty much because of one part of the question. And I'll get to that in just a minute. All right, so let's take a very, very small number. 0, 0, 0, 0, 4, 1, 2. Okay? Now, I used to ask people to ask questions after I gave them the definition, but I don't anymore. Because everybody would always say, well, how do we know what decimal, where the number is? I don't know. We just do something ever since we were born, or ever since we learned how to read. And that's go from what? Left to what?
Right.
And we've been doing that for how many years? Ever since we learned how to read. How old are you? 24. You 24? You kid. How old are you? I don't want to ask you. How old are you?
18.
18. All right. You've been reading for 18 years. You've been reading for 24 years. Why would you come to math class and read from right to left? Masalama. Why would you do that? But y'all do. I'm not talking about y'all in here, I'm just students. Oh yeah, I'm gonna put it beside 2. Why? Well, that's the first number. So you're reading from right to left now. Okay. So we're gonna start facing Mecca, and we're gonna start saying Masalama, which means go in peace. All right. Okay, that's pleasant. Okay, I'm not making fun of anybody. That's pleasant. I learned that in Saudi Arabia. Okay, so don't take offense to it. All right, left to right. Where's the first number greater than 0? 4. And what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to put the decimal where? Right there. Okay, now I'm going to do what you said do. Count the numbers. Let's count the places. So I got to move it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I hadn't said anything about a sign, so don't start talking about a sign, because that's where y'all screw up. All right, so I'm going to say 4.12 times 10 to the blank. And how many places? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. To the 5th place. Now, everybody in here gets that part right. What do y'all get wrong? Well, this is at the beginning. This is toward the end of the problem. You get it wrong with the sign. So I'm going to put a little note right here. And this is called mental questions. This mental question right here. Mental, y'all know what mental means, right? It means you do it in your what? Your head. You don't actually move it. You say, which way do I mentally, I have to do this too, move the decimal to get original form. Okay? So which way do I move this decimal to get the original form?
Right. Oh, no, to the left.
To the left. And left means what? Positive or negative? Negative. Now, I usually get a student that hollers out, well, that's not the way I learned it. I'm not teaching you. You know how to do it? I'm not teaching you. I'm teaching a student who's never seen scientific notation, or I'm teaching the student that don't remember it very well. Okay? So, shut up. Why do I do it this way? Because when I show you the multiplication and I show you the division, that sign and that little question that I just gave you is going to save you from making the very, very small mistake of picking positive instead of negative, or the negative instead of positive. That's why. And I'll show you that in just a minute. So, that's my answer is 4.12 times 10 to the negative 5th. And then I always get the student that goes, oh, well, my teacher taught me that if it's small, it's always going to be to the negative, and if it's big, it's always going to be to the right, or positive. Well, don't whine when you get the multiplication problems and the division problems wrong, because I'm trying to show you how not to get them wrong. Okay? So let's do a big one. And again, this is just conversion. So let's do a big one. 536 million. Okay, now the decimal on a whole number, where is it? It's right there. So you got to move it. Left to right. Here's we read from left to right. Where is the first number greater than 0? 5, thank you. That's where we're going to put it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 5.36 times 10 to the blank 8th power. Which way in our head do we move this decimal to get the way it looks in the original? To the right. And that's your answer. Okay, now I'm going to show you where people mess up. So I don't want to hear any whining if you don't follow what I'm doing and you get it wrong on these type questions. Oops. Here we go. 3.0 times 10 to the 4th multiplied by 5.0 times 10 to the 6th. Now, how do you do these problems? I'm fixing to show you. All right, there's 3 things that you do. Well, 2 things that you do. 1 is you multiply the numbers. 2, you use the law of exponents for the tens because they have the same base. Okay, and the law of exponents tell us that if you have the same base, a to the n times a to the m, then what do you do to the exponents? If you're multiplying, you add them. Okay, so that'd be a to the n plus m. If you're dividing, a to the n divided by a to the m, what do? You subtract n minus m. Okay, so there's your 2 rules of exponents right there. This one's called the product rule, and this one's called the quotient rule. Y'all should have seen this in pre-algebra, or algebra 1. Okay? So, here we go. 3 times 5. Multiply your numbers together, and then pull your tens over here. 10 to the 4th times 10 to the 6th. Now I'm putting in a step here because again, I don't know who's had it and who hasn't. So 3 times 5, I can do that. 15 times 10, and what am I going to do to those 2 exponents? And I get 15 times 10 to the 10th power. And I'm done, right? Yes or no? I can't hear you. I heard
No.
no. You're not done. Why? What's the definition of scientific notation? Okay, turn back 1 page in your notes, huh?
Placing the decimal
To the
to the right
Of?
greater than 0.
okay, so what's our number on 15? What number is greater than 0? 1. Where is the decimal on a whole number? Right there. So where we got to move it? Got to move it right there. 1.5 times 10 to the 10 blank 1. And 99% of you will get that 1 correct because you did 1 what? 1 space. But what happens is you get the next step wrong. And you've done 90% of the problem right, but you got 100% of it wrong because of one little thing, and that's the difference between getting it right and getting it wrong. Which way do you move this decimal in your head to get it back the way it was? To the right. And your answer to this question is 1.5 times 10 to the 11th power. And for every 10 students that I teach, and don't go over this, 5 or 6 will get this wrong and have a 9 here. I'm serious. And they do not understand it until I go over how to do scientific notation, because they've been taught the pattern. Okay? We went to the left, didn't we? And students go, oh, okay, that'd be negative. And they get to the 9th power, and it's wrong. If you don't believe me, type it in your calculator and see. I'll bet you $100 bill that's right. Nobody's going to take me up on it. I don't have a $100 bill. All right. One time I told students I wanted them to try this problem. And to this day, I tell this story to when I do scientific notation. And I'm looking back, and I look over the class, and people are working on it, and there's this chick sitting somewhere in the class. Why does this thing do this? And she's frantically working. I mean, I'm talking, she looks like she's writing the Constitution of the United States. I mean, she's just going. You know why she was just going? Anybody want to take a guess? The chick turned this into 30,000. 30,000. With me? And she turned this into 5 what? Million. And guess what she was doing? Long multiplication. People, why do you think we're showing you how to do scientific notation? So you don't have to do all that. That's the whole purpose. Another person in past classes, I showed them how to do this, and they just sat there and looked at it. I mean, they couldn't understand what I was doing. Why would you do that? All you got to do is put in 30,000 in your calculator and put in, in other words, I'm not going to use my brain. I'm going to just fix it to where I can punch it in the calculator. So, people, I just don't understand it. I really don't. I give you an easy way to do a problem. Take 2 big numbers and multiply them, and you can do it in your head just about, but you want to use a calculator, or you want to use long division or long multiplication. That's kind of like having an elevator to take your luggage up 15 flights, but you choose to do what? Take the stairs. Okay? There's no reason for you to do that, because 3 times 5 is 15 and 10 to the 10th power. And if you do 5 or 6 of these problems, you'll start to see how easy it is. Okay? So let's do a division. Division. Let's do 48 times 10 to the 6th divided by 4 times 10 to the negative 4th. Oh yeah, y'all might as well quit on this. Why? You got a negative exponent. Yep, you might as well quit. So, divide it up. Take your 48 divided by 4 and put it over here. And 10 to the 6th over 10 to the negative 4th, what do you do when you divide fractions? Divide exponents. Subtract. But you remember, you got a negative there, so you're going to put that negative 4 in parentheses and put a negative in front of it. And that becomes something different. I'll set it up for you. 48 divided by 4. 10 to the 6th divided by 10 to the negative 4. And what's 48 divided by 4? 12. And I get 12 times 10 to the what? 10th power. Because 6 plus 4 is 10. And that negative 1 is right here. What's negative 1 times negative 4? Positive 4. 6 plus 4 is 10. Well, that's not right because we've got to have the decimal right here. So again, one place. So that's going to be 1.2 times 10 to the 10 blank 1. Which way do I move this decimal in my head to get it back the way it was? To the right. And that'll be 1.2 times 10 to the 11th power. Now what did you just do? You just took 4, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You just took 4,800,000 and divided it by 0.0004, I think. Yeah. You just divided two very, very complicated numbers. Now, if it was 4 million, it would be easy to do because you just have to take out. Did somebody just walk out? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought she left. If it was 4,800,000 over 4,000, would it be easy to do? Yes. You would just cancel the zeros and divide whatever you need to divide. Okay? So that's how you do scientific notation. Now, you will see some word problems in your homework. Do them. Send them in if you need help because I like to give word problems with scientific notation, operational scientific notation. As far as the conversions, I might give you one of each on the test. So, convert this number to scientific notation, convert this scientific notation into a regular number. Okay, those are the 1 or 2. But I might give you 2 to 3 word problems. Why do I give you 2 to 3 word problems with operations of scientific notation? Because I'm mean and I want you to fail the test, or some other reason? What do you think that reason is? Where do you see scientific notation besides math?
Science.
And how do you see them in science? As word problems. That's why. Okay? So I want you to be used to seeing the word problem with the scientific notation. I'll give you an example, and I have no idea, I'm going to make it up as I go. One of the word problems that I like to put on the test has anything to do with space. Why? Because I'm a space person? No. Because a lot of the times when you're dealing with astronomy, when you're dealing with celestial bodies, you can't say, oh, well, that planet weighs 500 million tons. You don't do that. You go 5 times blah, 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 times 10 to the what power. Okay? So, let's say that this is planet A, and this is planet B. Oops, sorry. Make it red. And let's say the distance between the two is 38 million miles. I'm just making this up. And you've got a spaceship, you've got a space shuttle on planet A. And it travels at 980 miles per hour. How long, meaning time, how long would it take you to get to planet B? Now, of course, mine is pretty much layman's terms. When you see it in your homework, it's going to be about a long paragraph, okay? But this is basically what it's asking. All right, first of all, once you forget what's on the board, I want you to ask yourself, Anderson to Greenville is how many miles? 30 miles. And I'm driving 30 miles an hour. Or let's say I'm driving 60 miles an hour. How do I figure how long it will take without doing it in my head? How do you figure that? There's a formula that you use for that type of calculation. Anybody know what that formula is? Not many people know, but it's a very important formula that you need to know in real life. Distance equals rate times time. Rate is the same thing as speed. But don't say that to a physicist because they'll have a cow. All right? So, floating jug. I want T. So you can solve the equation for T first, or you can put the numbers in and solve for T after you put the numbers in. I don't care which one you do, but I want to know what the time is. Well, you're going to be using those BA numbers, so what do you need to change them into before you get started? Scientific notation. Go ahead and work with it. Take a few minutes. And once you get discouraged and quit, we'll do it. That was your first yawn. I saw it. I tried to hide. Or I might just come by and stare over your shoulder until you finally quit because of the pressure and anxiety that I'm causing. What do you think? Get the hell out of here. All right, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change this into scientific notation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 3.8 times 10 to the blank 7th power. Which way did I move this in my head to get it back the way it was? To the right. Thank you. All right, so there's one thing that we need. The other one is right here. 9.8 times 10 to the 2nd power. I'm sorry. I don't know where the 12 came from. Blank, 2nd power. To the right. And there's the second number. Now I'm going to solve my formula for T. Now you don't have to do it. You can just plug the numbers in and then solve. But I'm just going to go ahead and do it. So divide what? How do I get T by itself? Divide by the R. Do it on one side, do it on the other. So T is equal to, the time is equal to the distance divided by the what? Now plug your distance and your rating and do scientific notation. So go ahead and do that if you haven't done it yet. Oh, and that's how you come up with, it only takes me, 30 minutes to get to Greenville and I'm going 60 miles an hour. 60 divided by 30 is what? Or whatever, I don't know, whatever the case may be. I don't know what I was supposed to say, 26. Distance is 30. Yeah. Divided by 60. Yeah, half an hour. Yeah. Half an hour is 30 minutes, yeah. And that's when you always get the guy. There's always a guy in the crowd that says, it takes you 30 minutes to get to Greenville? I get there in 3.3 seconds because I'm an idiot. And I have very, very individual insecurities about myself. Bald, short, or we won't talk about the third one. Some people go out to do that. I'm talking about the ones that are up there. They're here because they're scared somebody might come to the ball. That's the ones I'm talking about. Or you see a big old jacked up truck that's 15 feet in the air and a little short guy gets out with the ball here. Like I say, I don't make fun of people. I make fun of people that hang a sign around their neck. All right, what now? Well, 3.8 times 10 to the 7th divided by 9.8 times 10 to the what? 2nd. All right, now take your handy dandy calculator out, because unless you're Rain Man, you're probably not going to be able to divide 3.8 by 9.8. But more power to you, you're probably going to get 3 point something, 1/3 or 0.33 or something. I don't know. Somebody tell me what you get.
0.387.
0.387 is good enough. 0.387 times 10. And what is 7 minus 2? Huh? 5. Uh-oh. We got to change that to a what? Scientific notation. So where does the decimal go? So that's one place. So 3.87 times 10 to the 5 blank 1. Which way do we move this decimal right here to get it back in our head the way it was? Left. So our final answer is 3.87 times 10 to the 4th power. Now, we're still not finished. Can somebody tell me why we're not finished? We've got it in scientific notation, but why am I not leaving the answer like that? Because we never, you ever go down, oh, it'll take me 3.75 times 10 to the negative 3 hours to get there. No, you don't. What is time? A unit of measurement. It's a funny unit of measurement. Why is it funny? Because it's the only thing that we have no what over? Control. Although some people try to. You ever been to a cheerleading competition or a dance recital and the mamas try to dress up like the teenagers? It's very sad. Anyway, y'all ever seen that? It's very sad. Especially when they can't like fit into the teenagers' clothes. Don't look good. Anyway, so I'm going to change it. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's going to take 38,700 hours. 38,700 hours. How do I know it's hours? Because miles per what? Per hour. Now, the question may ask, how many days is that? Well, you take that divided by what? 24. So somebody take that number divided by 24. How many days is that? 1,612. Is that what everybody got?
Yeah.
And divide that by how many? 365? Divide that by 365. 4 years. 4.5 years. You ever seen Alien? What do they do when they got to travel a long period of time? Cryosleep. They go to sleep. That's why. It takes 4.5 years till you get one planet to the other. And there's a lot of planets on our solar system. There's a lot of in our system from one moon to some other moon or whatever that it takes that long. Though we never traveled it, but it takes that long as far as distance goes. So, what do you need to take away from this lesson today? 1, scientific notation, what the definition is, how to convert, how to do addition, multiplication, and division. Why do I not show addition? Well, it's like anything else. Can I add apples and oranges and get oranges? No. With scientific notation, it's just like common denominators. They have to be what? The same. If I've got 2.5 times 10 to the 5th, I've got to add something times 10 to the 5th, or subtract it. It's got to be the same. So what I usually tell students is if you have them the same, you can just bring down the 10 to the 5th and subtract the numbers, or add the numbers. If they're different, you have to use calculator. You have to convert them and use calculator. So a lot of books really don't talk too much about adding and subtracting. Most of your books kind of just push it off to the side and say, okay, you do it if they're in common, if not, do it on a calculator. And that's the only way you can do it. Is, well, you could write it out and do it by hand if you want to. You could do that. But this is the one that everybody, this is what they test you on, whether it's a standardized test or a unit test. They're going to test you on the multiplication and the division, because that's what you actually have to use the exponential laws for. Okay? So let's take a look at those couple of examples, or the ones that were sent in, and see if y'all can work them now, because I have no idea what they look like. So let's go to our handy dandy transparent board. Oh yes, logged us out again. And it won't like I have to go back out. This is so frustrating. Oh, it's not logged out. What the dang Russians? Let's see. Where is Math 155? All right, let's see if these are in order. 23. Yeah, they're in order. Okay. This one is 5.623/5. So it's like number 5 in your homework. Express the number in scientific notation. All right, do that. You should be able to do that in a couple of seconds. Oops. Now, y'all do realize this is one of the, I think this is the last section. I think we did 11.1 or something, don't we? I'm going to look at your outline. I think we do one section in 10 or 11. So that means next week we're probably going to be getting ready for what?
Yes.
That means we'll go over the last section. We'll review over the last section, like we're doing right now, doing these questions on 11.1, I think.
5.6 is the last homework assignment we got on there.
On the timeline, it says 5.6, and then it jumps to 10.1
Yeah.
per percent.
Go by the outline, 10.1. Yeah, that's all, yeah. And it's just percent, decimals and percent. That's all it is. We won't spend much time on that. So it looks like to me we're talking Monday, what day is today?
Wednesday.
Monday, we're talking about doing 11.1. So that means Wednesday will be, 10.1. And Wednesday will be for you to send questions on 11.1 and probably review. I'll upload the test, let you look at it, see what it looks like. It's going to regenerate. It's not going to be the same test. And I'll assign the dates on the test. Therefore, I'll assign the termination on the homework. So for those of you, if there's any that procrastinated and haven't done any homework yet, I'm sorry, it's coming. And if you don't do it, then you're going to be SOL. I will cover all questions about the test when I go over the test. How many, time limit, multiple choice, what it's going to cover. I'll do all of that when we go over the test. Yes, sir.
So we just come here and take the test, and when we're done, we leave?
No, it's online.
Oh, so we ain't got to come to class the day of the test?
No, I'll be covering new material.
Okay.
It's not the day. You read the handouts?
I know
Say, you read the handouts?
some
I'm
of
sorry, I didn't hear you.
Some of it. I know the test gonna be online, but you still have some teachers that make you.
I've got to do an in-class test, but I do that, and it's very nonchalant, and it's very unofficial. I just do it because I have to do it. 5 questions that come from the test after you take the test. We grade it inside, and I put it in as a quiz grade. That's That's, I don't do that because I have to. And if my department head comes up to you and says, did you ever give you an online test, in the class test? You say yes. And you don't have to lie about it. I did. But it's stupid. Anyway, I'm sorry. Here we go. Let's change it. So I got 7960. 7960. Decimals right there. So I'm going to move it to where? Right there. So 1, 2, 3. 7.960 times 10 to the blank third. Which way do I move this decimal ahead to get it back the way it was?
Right.
To the right. Now, do you have to put this 0? No. But now, when do you need to put a 0? When it's between two non-zero numbers. Okay, you have to put a 0. But that 0 is kind of like a tail on a kite. You know, it's not really doing anything. Okay, because it's not between two numbers. Now, there's a 0 between this 9 and 6. You have to put it. It's called a placeholder. But here, this is not a placeholder. This is just like a tail on a kite. So you really 7.96 or 7.960, either one. Make sure you read your, what does it say right here? Use scientific notation. That tells you to put it in scientific notation. If you don't see that, chances are they want you to put it as a number, especially with units of measurement. Okay, write that down. Second thing you want to make sure of is whether they tell you to round it. They do not, so that's your answer. Okay? Next question. (5.643/9). Number 9. There we go. There's the one that we were doing. I'm going to write it on the board for you so you can see it. 5.1 times 10 to the second times 3 times 10 to the negative third. All right? And you should be able to get it down to at least the last couple of steps. If not, then you should go ahead and probably quit school and live in the ditch. Stand over you. Freak out. What do you think? What is www.hotgirls.com? Arizona does that. What's 5.1 times 3? Good job. You should not need a calculator for that. Times 10, and I'm going to put this up for you. 2 plus what? Negative 3. Why is it plus? Because you're multiplying. You're multiplying right here. If they squish together and nothing between them, that means you're multiplying. 15.3 times 10. Okay, 2. You have $2 in your pocket. You owe $3. You give them the $2, you still owe what? You still owe $1. Is this in scientific notation? No, it's not. So I'm going to put it in scientific notation. So 1.53 times 10 to the negative 1 blank 1. And which way do I move this decimal right here in my head to get it back the way it was? To the right. Now, the directions tell us to write it as a decimal, and that's what we're going to do. But I did that extra step right here because this right here is what students miss on standardized tests right here. They forget to go from here to here. So I want you to do it no matter what, so you won't forget to do that step. If you get a non-scientific notation answer, change it. I don't care what the directions say, because you need to remember that. All right? Now, it says, that'd be 0 right there. So 10 to the 0 is 1. So times 1 is multiplicative identity. So 1.53 times 1 is 1.53. So that should be your answer. Okay? 1.53 is your answer. And just so y'all know, because y'all don't think my method works with the mental question, and you think yours is right, and you got to the -2, well, let's just see who's right. If I type in 1.53 and it's right, then that means your way is what? Wrong. Oh my gosh, that means I'm right and you suck. It means your way's broken. Okay? And the reason I do that is because I get so many people, not in this class, but if I had 30 people in this class, I'd have 2 or 3 fighting me, arguing that I'm wrong because they were taught pattern. If it's a little number, you go negative. If it's a big number, you go positive. And then when they get to these type questions, they don't know whether to, you know what, or go blind. Because the pattern, I don't know what to do about the pattern because 1.53, is that a small number or a big number? They don't know. Just telling you, I'm just telling you what I have to go through sometimes. And it's all because of the Russians. Everything is the Russians' fault. Y'all know I'm being sarcastic, don't you? Okay. And this is 5.649/11. All right, you do that one. I'll write it so you can see it. Because most of the time in classes, most of the people that can't see, guess where they sit? In the back. And instead of moving to where they can see, they'd rather me blow it up. And I'm not going to do that because it messes up the marker thing, and then I have to make it smaller, and I'm not doing it. So if you can't see, you need to move. All right, 4.8, 2 million times 240,000. Oops. There. Oops. There. 240,000. So change both of them into scientific notation and use the multiplicative law, which means you're going to add the exponent. And everybody knows what 2 times 2.4 is, 4.8, so you don't need a calculator. So 2 times 2.4 is 4.8. And what's 10 to the 6th, times 10 to the 5th? Are we done? Yes. The only thing you got to do is check the directions to make sure they don't want you to put it in a regular number, but it doesn't. It says use scientific notation. Now, if the directions tell you to do it a certain way and you don't, I'm sorry. That's one thing they stress in you remember your high school math teacher, follow the directions. I had a teacher one time, and I don't know, you probably have too, that puts a note at the top. If you write on this test, you will fail this test.
Yep.
Doesn't the little red corner on the answer mean that it's wrong?
Yeah, but the right answer is there. The red corner, if you hover over it, tells you what the person put.
Oh, okay.
And I can guarantee you that it's probably to the 10th power or something, or it's probably to the 1st power or something. I don't know. I have no idea. I'll see. Let's see what they put, and then we'll all make fun of them. How about that? We'll find out who the name is, and we'll all make fun of them. Let's see. Where is it? Oops. Yep. What they did, and that's not funny. Come on. What they did is they thought it said rewrite. So the only thing they did wrong was they got one of the exponents what? Wrong. The 2.4 times 10 to the 6 should be 2.4 times 10 to the what? So they were doing the right thing, but they just got their directions messed up. Okay? They were thinking they were just converting.
Yeah, I had seen that.
Huh?
I had seen that.
Okay, now you're not supposed to say that, all right? Now let's make fun of her. You're stupid. Yeah, quit school. You can give it up. McDonald's is hiring.
Always.
All right. So, now a lot of people say I'm offended because I work at McDonald's. That's good. I'm glad you work at McDonald's. But I hope you're not going to feed 4 people and a dog on McDonald's salary part-time, because that's not what it's meant to be. Don't even get me started on that. That's kind of like one of my students said, we ought to have free tuition. No, we don't need free tuition. We need students with common sense. All right? You finished Westside High School. I'm going to pick on Westside because I was a Westside High School graduate. And I was like 380th out of 386 students, okay? I wasn't the smartest student. Do you think I'm going to put in an application to Yale or Harvard? No. And even if by some wild chance they accept me, I've got to go up there. I've got to get an apartment. I've got to borrow money to go to school. I've got to get a student loan to do this. And then I decide to take, let's see, I really don't like math because it's too hard. I really don't like science because I have to study it. I really don't like English because that's too time consuming. I'm going to take female gender studies. What's female gender studies? What job can I get? Not a debt blame thing. And then I graduate in female gender studies, or male gender studies, whichever. I graduate in it, and I've got $3 million worth of what? Student loans. And guess what I can't get when I get out? A job. The government should pay for my tuition. You need to get some daggum common sense. No, you go to Tri-County Tech, you go there for 2 years, you get a job, you work, and then you go to Clemson or Anderson College or whatever, and you apply for student loans, you get a degree that you can get a job in, and then you pay the loan off. I paid my loan off like 4 years ago, and it was around $75,000. But I paid it off because I went into a degree program. Math teachers are not that easy to get. Like special ed teachers, they're not easy to get. So you don't go into something that's flooded market. What's a profession that's flooded? Well, it was flooded about 10 years ago. Nursing. Everybody's brother was going into nursing. And Tri-County Tech actually had to shut down the nursing program, or they had to let few people in because there was so many nursing graduates and they flooded the market. Happened with engineering. Clemson had to do that. Clemson had to shut down because there was so many. Don't do that. That's why you have to talk to an advisor. That's why you have to talk to people. If you're going into manufacturing, you talk to Michelin people. You talk to people that work there. People ain't got common sense. Pay my tuition. Everything's free. I just don't. I wasn't raised up like that. All right. Anybody got questions? Y'all feel good about yourself?
Yep.
Okay. Then this